Good morning, everyone. Welcome, true art believers. I am back. Unfortunately, I've been on hiatus. Really doesn't matter, but had a lot of things going on, and I had to reorganize my schedule and the way I block things out to accompany this. It just turns out that I was trying to do too much, and now I think I am able to allot a small section of time to work on my paintings live while discussing what I'm working on. So I think 15 minutes is probably, I got a little timer here. 15 minutes is probably the best, the most amount of time I can spend on this before I lose, not necessarily lose focus, but I can't have it bogging me. I can't have a live session and talk about my work for more than 15 minutes. So what I got going on right now is I am working on going and applying another layer of orange on my painting for stripes. And yeah, I could technically, I could I don't know what I was going to talk about right there. Oh yeah, I can hand draw these, but I like the process of using tape. So what I do is I make small areas and put small pieces of tape on my piece here, and then I just fill in the area. So I spend a little bit of time lining it up with the line, and then I go from there. Now I don't know how close I want it. Matter of fact, I need to get a little bit closer because it feels like it's not in the area that I want it, and this is not tacky enough. So I need another thing of tape. And what I have is I think it's frog tape. It's like frog painter tape. I think that this works okay. I haven't had enough time, or I haven't had the time to really experiment with tape, but I'm going to in the future, and that's probably something I'm going to think about. Oh man, I'm bending up my tape here. Something I'm going to think about in the future is really spending time and experimenting with different types of tapes and seeing which ones work best. Now all these like house tapes that are like meant for like that blue painter's tape, they say, oh, it's the greatest. It doesn't pull any paint it off at all. Like, that's a lie. It pulls paint off a lot. And they're like, oh, no paint, no tape, none of the paint goes underneath it. It's like, that's a lie too. Paint does go underneath it. It also has to do with the fact that I think it's formulated for acrylic or house paint. And we're also, when you're using this tape, it's probably not meant for a surface that is slightly textured. And because of that, there is some problems that arise. So what I tend to do is I try to line it up and then really get a good rub on it. Now what I don't want to do is, sometimes if I feel the tape's too tacky, I'll press it against my pants or my shirt to kind of make it less tacky. What I tend to not try to do is I don't apply the tape all the way on there. I tend to leave the areas on the left side or on the opposite side that is not going to be used open, because that means there's less area that I have to pull off, and I avoid the chance of it pulling off paint. Now that happens from time to time, you pulling off paint, but the way that I paint, I don't really mind it so much. So I'm okay with that happening in my paintings. It happens. And so I'm using orange. And what I did was I made my own orange and put it into a tube. Now the reason why I used orange was it's really kind of a ridiculous concept. Is like, I never use orange. I never use orange in my paintings, and I was like, you know what? I need to use some orange in my paintings. I'm always using like these these colors that are I don't know. They're I don't know what they are. Very bright and vivid colors, but I never use orange. I think the reason why is I never had orange. I never had orange, like a straight tube of orange. And what I tend to do is I don't really mix my own paints. I have, like, the base color, and I just kind of mix accordingly. But this time I made my own tube of orange paint. But what I now have is with this painting is I actually own my own. I bought a tube of orange paint, a really nice orange tube of paint. Cadmium orange pure series 3. It cost me a ton of money. Well, not a ton of money, but for folk like me, it cost me a pretty penny. And so what I had to do was I used my orange that I made, and I cut the orange with the really nice orange to kind of make it closer to the cadmium orange, but still I'm not using the straight cadmium, and going through my orange reserves per se. Reserves. Going through my reserves of orange. The reason why I don't want to go through it is because it's expensive paint, and you go through, if I use the straight tube, I would go through it in no time, especially the amount of stripes I want to make. Now there might be a caveat. It might the orange might apply on a little bit more opaque, which means I'd have to use less layers. But in this case, I'm going to be using doing 3 layers of orange here. And you're like, why do you want to use 3 layers, Pierson? Well, I just felt like it just seems like a good number. Do things in 3s, I don't know. Do things in 3s. I don't have an explanation. There's stuff around my studio, that's why I'm making noises. Now, you may be asking, like, why have you been gone? Well, my initial goal was to do a live stream each day, but life happened, and also live streaming is incredibly time consuming, even when you want to do a simple one such as just show your painting, and that includes not even editing. This is a raw video, Maybe I might edit some in the future. I might need to go back and look at some and see if I said any stupid stuff. I'm always saying dumb things. So this is a raw video. You know what I'm doing wrong? I'm not doing what I want to do here. I keep making a small sliver of tape, and I need a longer sliver. Darn it! I need a longer sliver of tape, and it's making me uncomfortable to have such a short piece of tape there. So I need to pull out a longer section of tape and use that. So that's what I'm going to do. And I think what I'm going to be doing is, the reason why I stopped is not just because it was time consuming, but also because, like, I just couldn't keep up. I was like, I wasn't getting work done. I was like, this is a great idea. And then I'm like, oh no, I start doing it. Like, oh my gosh, my paintings are not getting done because I'm having to stop and talk. And to be honest with you, most of the time when I'm painting or drawing, I'm not like talking. It's hard to narrate what you're doing. I'm having to think differently, but I wanted to do this because I thought it'd be a neat thing to do. and talk about my work a little bit. So all I'm doing is just plotting out my areas that I'm going to paint, and I'm going to go over it with a layer of orange, and then I'm going to go over it again. And I am just going to do, from here on out, I'd love to do more videos of me painting. And also the other reason why I kind of stopped was my paintings are very slow. It's not like super quick. Things don't just occur in one session. So when I was drawing or painting, I was like, this looks like the exact same video from the previous one. Well, that's because not a lot changes in that 30 minutes or an hour, you know? And so it was kind of a waste for me to make these videos and have a very unproductive session, but also things kind of, you don't really see progression. And so I think what I'm going to do is have a weekly live stream where I just show what I do a small snippet of what I'm working on currently. I don't know, and maybe talk a little bit about it. So now that I got my tape all set up, I'm going to get some orange oil paint, and we're going to work from there. I only have 4 minutes left, so I'm really not going to get much done. You're not going to see anything really. The thing about oils is they don't dry immediately, so I have that working for me. And since they don't dry immediately, I can make a generous amount of paint and paint with it and not worry about it drying on me. I think that's one of the advantage. I don't know what I'd do with acrylic if it dried so quickly, because it dries so quickly. You know, I haven't done acrylic, so I don't have any experience with it. From my understanding, people say that it once acrylic dries, unless you're using specific mediums, they can tend to be they can look kind of scaly or like dry, because they lose, once they lose that moisture, apparently the vividness of the tones just kind of evaporate. You don't really have that type of thing happening with oils. Even when you use like mediums, from my experience, that kind of make things a little bit more matte, a little less shiny. Even when you have that going against you, working with that, there's still a relative shine or a glare or a glisten, brilliance, radiance, whatever word you want to attach to it. There's still some of that occurring, even when you use mediums that are supposed to kind of dilute the natural luster of oil paints. And so I like to have this little thing right here as a hand rest. It's just what I do. This is one of those things that I do, and I have little foam pads on it because I got tired of, even though I'm using wood panels, I got tired of the wood just kind of banging on my wood panels as I'm working with them. So I use the foam as kind of like a pad. I don't know why. I think it's the only solution I have at the moment. Maybe if I spent some time thinking about some solutions or some ways to work around it, I'd come up with something. But right now, I'm not investing substantial amounts of time of how to problem solve this, because it's not really it's not a nuisance enough, and I don't think it's a problem at the moment. Now you're not seeing much get done because I'm painting right above the camera, this small area that I thought I had cropped in the video. And to be honest with you, I thought I'd get the taping done quicker. It's just one of those things, you know. So I only have 30 seconds left, and all I got done in 15 minutes was taping my stripe and then getting like an eighth of a stripe done on the top quarter of this area. And then you wonder why paintings cost so much. Like, why does it cost so much? Well, because 15 minutes, I didn't even get 1/32nd or 1/64th of the painting done in 15 minutes. And that is time, folks. That is time. I am very thankful for any of the people that subscribe and all kinds of stuff like that. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at Matt Pierson Art, Instagram at Matt Pierson Art, Facebook at Matt Pierson Art. Oh wait, if you want to visit some more, see some more of my work on my website, go to www.mattpearsonart.com, and bam, you get to see some paintings of food and burgers. Lately, it's been some watercolors, but thanks for stopping by. I'm just going to continue on working on stripes because I got until about 10:30 today before I go to work. Woo! Yeah, buddy. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm just experimenting. I don't know how to make these videos. It's kind of boring just to see a flat surface and hear a narration, but people listen to people talk and then see like just thumbnails pop up intermittently throughout the whole video. Thanks again. I appreciate your support. Thanks for stopping by. Ron Burgundy. So dumb.